It's the worst hour of the week with Bryan Vokey and Ramsey Badawi.
What is this? You hung up a picture of what looks like Jesus Christ next to God in our studio?
Yeah, that's. I found a funny picture. It's a Japanese version. So Jesus is Japanese. He looks like Steve Aoki, and God has a hair loss problem, which is kind of strange to me.
God sort of looks like Santa Claus in that one, kind of like an interesting. It's a bald. He's completely bald, got a nice white beard, and he's got a cross between him and Jesus, which very passive aggressive move as a parent to do. Like
Jesus must have not made his bed that morning.
Yeah, it's like, all right, dude, is there something wrong, Dad? That's Jesus in this scenario.
Well, he's like, if you don't make your bed again, I'm going to resurrect you, and then I'm going to crucify you again.
That's exactly what my dad would do, by the way, if he was God. He would leave the cross around the house just as a reminder.
Right.
What happens.
Yeah. If you talk back to me. I had no idea that Christianity took off in Japan at all. That really blew my mind because that's clearly Japanese art. But I saw growing up, there were Korean Christian churches all over my town.
I grew up around nothing but Korean Christians.
Yeah.
All of them were Korean Christians.
But I thought Japan was more
Shintoism.
Yeah, Shinto and Buddhist.
Or Buddhism.
Yeah, Thank you for filling in because I was about to drift. I was like,
it's something.
We're
Well, it's. I like that they made him Japanese. That's not a very common, trait of the Asian world.
Right.
So that's kind of interesting. I mean, they're not at all doing he's brown. They're still
no. It's not even.
That's not even a question for them.
It seems to me, even though Japan is Asia and the Middle East is almost Asia, it seems more likely Jesus, like in the order of possible races, I would still put Japanese below white.
Yeah.
In the odds, like in the Vegas odds.
Yeah.
Jesus come back tomorrow. We're going to place bets on what he is. Clearly, he would most likely look like you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to talk about a book with very little diversity. It's the Bible. There's not a ton of range.
It's like 10 square miles.
It covers 3 blocks.
Right. It would be like, it's about the same size as DC.
Yeah.
It's a perfect 10 by 10.
It would be good if Jesus came. I think if I was God, still not ruling out the possibility. But if I were they, I would have if I was I would have made God. I would have made him like Filipino, just something completely just out of the freaking.
Just a curveball.
Just a curveball,
like an Inuit with like fucking sled dogs.
Because then it's like, what is the explanation of this guy being here? You know what I mean? Like, at least white Jesus could have walked, could have made it from Germany. Could have taken a boat. I don't really know how far it is. I feel like white Jesus could have made it there, though.
Yeah. He walked the Danube River,
something
all the way through Turkey.
But Filipino Jesus would have required that would have been some real work to get there.
Yeah, I also, it would instantly be a good sales point where it's like, okay, I've never seen anything that looks like you.
Not even close.
So that's a good plus if you're trying to be a supernatural being.
If you're trying to persuade everybody, What are the chances that your Lord and Savior was born down the street? Like the chances are low.
Right. It's like your the love of your life went to your high school.
What are the chances? It's the same. There's no way your Lord and Savior came from that. Maybe from the Philippines. Maybe it would have been great if he came from Australia.
Yeah. Also, why would a God be born in such an inhabitable place?
Oh man, it's beautiful, man. I like when army guys say that. You hear them talking like Afghanistan. Oh man,
dude, you got to see Afghanistan in the winter.
I'll tell you right now, you would think you were in Salt Lake City, Utah.
You really would.
I mean, with the exception, of course, of the
the RPGs and the heroin fields,
and the abduction of children and the whole making them dance thing.
The worst poverty in the world.
I mean, other than that, it is like Salt Lake, bro. It's peaceful.
It's like Sundance Festival.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine if you were at Sundance Festival and instead of watching movies about war, it was just war.
Right. It's an immersive experience.
It's exactly that. I mean, you would totally love it. We should start selling land in Afghanistan.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure you could get a killer deal
right now. Oh, dude, you'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm. But then whoever you bought it from might not actually own it.
Yeah, that's some of the risk that you're going to get into. I have found personally, as I've been moving some of my investing into the Middle East.
Dude, that's a huge scam going on right now because everybody's moving, everybody's relocating all over the place right now. Everybody's having their quarantine freak out. They think that for some reason people are like, oh, Armageddon will be way better in Austin. Or like, Armageddon, I need to get to fucking Boise.
Yeah.
That's where I want to burn to death. Or whatever. Like it's doom everywhere. So
I like when people have been like, you know what? I've been looking for a reason to get out of San Jose. Like, oh, really?
Have you?
Are you wanting to see what Santa Cruz was like before you die? Or what
right. Yeah, everybody's like relocating, and a big scam that's going on right now, and I've actually had a few friends fall to this themselves, is that they're going on like legit apps like apartments.com, places like that. They're putting deposits down on virtual tours of places, and they're giving all this money to people who don't own the properties. They show up there and it's not theirs, and they've given a first, last, and a deposit.
That's
I'm trying to get in on that. Like, hey. I'm giving them sympathy face, but in the back of my head, I'm like, how the fuck do I do this?
Yeah, dude. Welcome to Phoenix, bitch. That's what I would say as I was counting the money on the way out. For a brief period in time here in Los Angeles, I was the guy who showed apartments to people when they.
Of course you did.
In a region
of course you did.
There was a region of Hollywood where it was like my turf. Like it was like there was 10 buildings. I showed everybody.
Why do I feel like you had your cell phone on your belt while you were doing this? I don't know why, but
well, here's the thing, man. Part of showing people apartments, you don't realize this. There is sales to it because, basically, whenever you've really needed an apartment, eventually you find one. But on the flip side, it's hard to get rid of an apartment sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
You don't even realize it. You think, because if you're a renter, you're like, there's no way. Every single time you apply, there's 400 applications. Really, not really that many people are applying for apartments on any given day.
And then how many of them pass the credit check?
Beyond that, your apartment is oftentimes a piece of shit. A complete piece of shit. I used to rent from this building that just literally didn't have a living room. That just had a kitchen.
Yeah. So maybe a dog
just
ate the wall off.
Wall was eaten off. No. The places that I would show, it was like a property manager would basically take a really shitty old piece of property and they would modernize the inside of it, but it still had no bones. Like I'm telling you, there was an apartment. I was a 1-bedroom that I would show people. It had no living room, just a kitchen. You just walk right into a kitchen, and the hallway was so narrow that when you opened the door just hit the back, right?
Right.
Like hit the hallway. I would actually, in order to get people into the apartment, I would wave them in from the window because I realized that if I walked in with them, we would all feel cramped in the hallway together.
Right. Smart.
I was pulling some To Catch a Predator level. I was hanging out the front window when they walk in. Hey, how's it going, folks? Come on in.
I'm just finishing up here. I'll be down in a second. Did you ever tell? I imagine a move in L.A. because I was walking down the street one time with Everett Byram. You know him?
Yeah.
He's one of the best Twitter accounts.
Yeah.
We're walking down the street and we walked by his place and he's like, I live here. And he's funny, but he wasn't kidding. He goes, JFK and Marilyn Monroe used to rendezvous in this apartment complex.
Of course.
And I'm like, really? Did they? Who told you that?
Yeah.
Was that like because you didn't have hot water?
Yeah.
You're like, the sink, like brown water's coming out of the sink as you turn it on. They're like, yeah, JFK used to fuck Marilyn Monroe right here. And you're like, oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I was doing that, except I didn't understand how pop cultural references work. So I was lying about people that nobody knew about.
Right.
So I'd be like, dude, actually Huell Hauser from California Gold used to rent this place.
Rock Hudson got AIDS 1 room over.
Like,
what?
Okay. Not a lot of Rock Hudson fans in the neighborhoods I was selling.
Oh, man. Yeah, so speaking of buying houses, I live in a mostly Mexican neighborhood.
Yeah.
And by mostly, I mean everybody but me.
Yeah.
And I go to the grocery store. It's so fun, too, because I'm wearing the mask. And I got a hat on. So all you can see is my forehead and my eyes and my nose. And they still switch from hola to hello.
Yeah.
When they see me. Like everybody else is at the cashier. They're going up.
You're so lucky. Because I get hola. And I got to be completely honest with you. Sometimes they come at me with a lot of energy. And it's like, fuck, I'm about to bum you out.
You should just start speaking Arabic to them.
Oh, man. I wouldn't want to let anybody down like that. Could you imagine? Hey, even worse news. You thought it's not I'm white. Even worse news.
So people, my neighborhood has this like idea that like because I'm white that I'm like a sign of wealth.
Al Pasteur Qaeda. Now imagine I said that 2 or 3 minutes ago.
we can clean that up in post, baby.
I mean, we can make that if we can insert that 4 minutes ago.
Click, click, boom, dude. I'm paying at the register. He's like, hello. And everybody's still talking about the earthquake in my neighborhood.
Yeah, we had an earthquake here a couple nights ago. People might not know that.
To me, it's like, it was like 4 days old. It was vicious. It was crazy, but it was like 4 seconds.
Yeah, it's about 4 or 5 seconds of shaking. I jolted off the couch. I left my girlfriend behind.
You did a Costanza?
I stood in the doorway.
You're not supposed to stay in the doorway anymore.
Really?
Yeah, that's the thing. They say that was wrong.
What are you supposed to do?
You're supposed to just stick your ass in the air and cover your head.
That's it?
Yeah.
They're just gonna pretty soon. They're gonna start giving us just cyanide capsules to put around our neck. They're like, look, when an earthquake happens, just bite this. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, the doorway apparently is bad news. But so the lady's talking to me about the earthquake, and she goes, what are you doing? Do you live around here? As she's ringing up my Lebanese flatbread and lemons and chickpeas,
Nice,
and parsley, and I go, yeah, I live right around the corner, and she goes, how come a lot of you white boys are coming around here? And she paused before she said white boys. She goes, how come a lot of you white boys, like white boys was the best thing she could think of.
Yeah, she went through the other 6 things she would call you in Spanish.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
she was like trying to make it work.
Right. Pendejo,
Yeah.
maricon, all that stuff. And so she goes, how come you white boys are moving here? And I was like, this is the only place I could afford. She goes, it's a bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, it really isn't. But I was like, I don't know. And she goes, so where do you live? And I was like, around the corner. And she goes, my husband sells houses. And then she pulls out a business card for Andrew Joseph Niblas. And this is a high quality.
Yeah, that's a good business card.
Yeah,
I love,
yeah.
by the way, one of the worst business partners on the planet.
Right.
She just spent 20 minutes telling you how much this neighborhood sucks.
Yeah.
And she's like, by the way, in case you want to purchase any property.
Yeah, she was like a 65-year-old lady with braces and tattoos all over herself. And she goes, and she was like, we got a bunch of houses in the neighborhood for sale if you want to buy. And I'm like, what makes you? All the meat I bought was the markdown meat.
Yeah.
Like that. I have to. I don't know. I bought way too. I have to eat it all in like 3 days.
Yeah, you have that meat where you're like, is this bruised? Why is it weird and brown at a certain point?
I have to eat a Tyrannosaurus Rex amount of meat
Yeah.
before it expires in the next couple days.
Yeah.
And she's got these houses for sale, and they're like,
Brian's holding a plate. He's holding a plate with a bunch of, it's the fish skeleton, but the head and the tail are still on it.
exactly. Can you believe this was on sale? It's got 2 more days left.
It goes expired, then it goes Bryan food, then it becomes things to throw out to the cat.
Right.
Right.
And then it becomes rat poison.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she just thought, I'm sitting there, she's ringing up my discount meat. Just because I'm white in Boyle Heights, she thought I was ready to make a $500,000 at best dollar purchase.
Yeah.
Just for being white and food for less.
She could be listening to the podcast, dude. Maybe she listens
She
to
knows
the
how
pod.
good we're doing?
She knows how good we're doing. She hears about the news. She sees what's going on with me.
Yeah.
She
heard-
knows about, the financial ties you have.
Yeah, she heard we unloaded all our Nikola stock right at the right moment.
Oh, dude, we'll talk about that in a little bit, man. That's just a huge news story, huge news week altogether. Before we go further, I do want to hear you were buying chickpeas and parsley.
Yeah. I made a Mediterranean meal. I made a Middle Eastern meal today.
Are you fucking with me right now?
No, I have it downstairs. I roasted a whole chicken.
Okay.
I shoved lemons up that's pussy or whatever. What do you?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. You can
Cavity?
go ahead. Yeah, you could just say that. Yeah, I don't think it was the pussy. Just because it's a hole in... Ryan thinks every hole in a chicken is its pussy.
Yeah, dude, I got a fucking pussy in one when I was playing golf the other day.
Dude, did you see that beehive by the house? All those bees coming out of its pussy.
Anyway,
Dude, check out this bowling ball. 3 pussies.
pussies. I made my own hummus. I made.
You mind if I try it? Do you have any left over?
Yeah, it's downstairs.
No tahini in it.
No
though.
tahini. I told you they didn't have tahini at the place.
It's interesting.
They
I
had
feel like
sesame seeds.
all the bodegas I go to have tahini.
I made several rounds. I went to the ethnic foods section, which is just like a quarter of one side of an aisle.
Anytime you're in a section labeled ethnic anything, it's not a great time. Ethnic hair is a pretty rough aisle.
Right. Ethnic foods was just basically like fermented plums and tapatio. That was like all it was.
Well, I want to say that ethnic hair, by the way, the reason why it's a bummer of an aisle is because it's four items.
Right.
It's like, here's everyone else's items. I guess who had to shop in the ethnic hair section?
Were you straightening your hair? Did you used to do the 50s doo-wop singer thing?
Yeah.
You would what do they call that? Process the hair?
Every morning I would give myself a perm.
You wanted to look like Jonah Hill in Superbad?
Well, there was a little while when I had the Jerry curl. Weird phase of my life.
I wish you had a Jerry curl right now so bad.
I have challenging hair, man, and so sometimes you want to find products that work for it. I would find myself in the ethnic hair aisle, and it was a rough one. The ethnic food aisle is just as rough. It's usually beans, it's peppers.
People from your culture that I've interacted with in my life only grow their hair out when they're trying to get money from white people.
Okay.
More often than not, it's the same fade. Like you would like in Berlin where like there's a lot of Syrians in the neighborhood I hang out in. And the barbershops would have examples of the haircut you could get. And it was just 8 different guys with the exact same haircut.
Yeah. It was all the weekend or whatever.
No, it was all the close high top fade.
Yeah. High top fade, but like their top would just look like mine, kind of Kramer head.
No, but way short.
Oh, yes. Yeah. They call it the marine cut over there.
Yeah, like the Aaron Hernandez haircut.
Yeah, but when you go to the Middle East, they'll call it like the marine cut. That's like a fashionable thing. All my cousins in the Middle East would always be like,
everybody had the same haircut.
Yeah.
And then you would see one guy who would grow his hair out like yours, and it was like he'd be a comedian, or he'd be like an actor or something. It's like
he'd be deranged in some capacity. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
No. What I'm saying is he had to like put on a show of his hair to get money from the weird white execs who are looking for diversity.
You think I need money from white execs, dude? I'm an entrepreneur, dude.
Yeah,
you're out here talking about your hummus. You know that I'm in the process right now of making my own falafel mix.
Are you?
Well, I've already got a falafel mix. I've
like you're gonna box it and sell it at grocery stores,
dude. Like I'm gonna sell it at grocery stores. What is this? $19.99? No, dog. I'm selling it online.
You should start an app like pre-prepared meals,
bro. I'm telling you,
come up with all the recipes.
There's only one recipe. There's only one thing I'm proud of in the Badawi household. Okay,
your falafel recipe.
We got a falafel mix for the ages.
Yeah,
and it's literally it's so simple. It's 2 ingredients.
What style are you going?
You
going Lebanese style?
We're going Badawi style, dude.
Badawi style?
We're going Gangnam style.
Because the Lebanese and the Greek are very different. You're gonna get the fat guy in me.
Yeah, it'll be a little closer to the Lebanese.
That's always a little more moist.
Style. It's Palestinian style. Okay.
Yeah. So it's moist in the middle.
I'm working right now. We're trying to find. It's moist in the middle. It's crispy on the outside. It's amazing. We're trying to get the branding right now. We're looking for a picture of a Syrian woman whose head has been blown off to put on the cover to make people.
Yeah, and it says this falafel will blow your mind.
Yeah, we're looking for something to. We were thinking about putting on just like that refugee, you know, that kid with all the dust on him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one.
Yeah, we're thinking about putting him on the cover to get people to buy.
10% of these proceeds will go to the same place the other 90 are going.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great, dude. Yeah, you could try the hummus. I mean, no tahini, you're not gonna be into it. But I made a tabbouleh salad. I made some you flinched when I said that.
Yeah, that's fine. I could tell you're trying. And
Kalamata olives. I'm not. I mean, who am I trying? I made it for myself. What do you mean I'm trying?
I mean, I think you're
It's
trying.
not like I had like a girl over and I'm like, I picked this up in my time in war.
Interesting. You made it the day that I came over, huh? Very interesting.
You come over 2-3 times a week to record this. It's gonna happen.
I guess you're probably right. I do think I could get on Shark Tank with that falafel mix idea though. And
I don't know what Show Tank is.
Shark Tank.
Oh, it sounded like you said Show Tank.
Maybe I did.
Well,
but
that's probably. I mean, you watch way more TV than I do. I mostly read.
This guy.
I tend to read a lot more.
You know, I don't. I don't even watch TV. I watch YouTube clips
Of Shark Tank.
of Shark Tank.
All day.
So good.
Well,
You know why I like Shark Tank? It's the same reason why I like here's why Shark Tank is the best show, because the losers, when they walk away, it's such a feel-good show. Even the losers still have a business. Like, that's an awesome, what an awesome business model.
Who's your favorite judge?
My favorite judge has got to be Barbara Corcoran.
Is that the home shopping network lady?
No, that's the other lady. She's a real estate tycoon, and I like her because she's always kind of horny in her deals.
That's a good idea.
She'll always be like, "Woo!" She's like, "I want to see him with his shirt off." Like, she'll say that about one of the guys walking out while they're demonstrating.
Everybody at the top has a healthy sexual drive.
Yeah, man, that's what I'm saying. It rules. So she's my favorite one.
I was gonna say I just got to go Cuban because I love how he still dyes his hair jet black.
Yeah. No, I think he's lightening it up these days.
Is he?
He's kind of got like a Khalid Sheik Mohammad. Do you remember how Khalid Sheik Mohammad bashed those berries into his beard when he was in prison? Did you hear about that?
No.
When Khalid Sheik Mohammad was initially arrested, he was like, and Khalid Sheik Mohammad is, of course, the mastermind behind 9/11. Mm-hmm. Just so you guys know, I'm from the producers of, he also did.
From the folks who brought you 9/11.
I like when they say that. They go, he's the mastermind behind 9/11. And of course, everybody knows he also had some producing credits on the USS Cole.
He doesn't like to mention it, but his first break was the first World Trade Center bombing.
Yeah.
And it was a flop. We'll say it was a flop.
Yeah, he also wrote for the destabilization of Iraq.
He had an Ethiopian embassy gig that, it's a cult favorite.
Yeah,
I mean, people dress up at Comic-Con, at Terrorist Con.
Yeah,
they dress up as the Ethiopian embassy. People go nuts, but most people don't know. It didn't break into the mainstream.
When Khalid Sheik Mohammad, he was arrested, and he's been. By the way, I believe his trial starts next year. That's going to be buck wild, man.
Dude, I'm going to be selling shirts outside of it.
He's getting tried for 9/11. By the way, I don't even know where you. Where do you even begin that trial?
I love the dirtbag lawyer who's taking that case. I love that.
Khalid, we have some things against us.
What if they defended himself by saying George Bush did it? What if that was like they bring in loose change? I declare evidence number one.
Here's the thing, and I'd like to see where this goes legally, but truly, you can plead insanity, and there's a pretty compelling case there. I mean, if somebody tells you, why did I get 2 commercial airline flights into the trade centers? God told me to. That's pretty fucking insane.
Yeah, you can't really. What if they find out Eric Rudolph did it?
Which one is Eric Rudolph again?
He's the one that did the Olympic bombing in Atlanta, and they arrested Richard Jewell first.
Yeah, that's right.
Shot up. He lived in the mountains for a long time. He was like a survivalist.
Yeah, he's part of the white guy crew that doesn't interest me because, I just sort of,
Dude, the survivalist part, I don't understand. It's the same thing Osama did. Like, I love that these guys retreat to these rustic lifestyles.
I guess it's fair, but my major difference between what Osama did and what Eric Rudolph did is what Osama did was based in truth. You know what I mean? And so for that reason, at least it makes sense to me.
I think those guys would be fast friends. I mean, Ted Kaczynski claims that he's made friends with several Muslim terrorists in Florence, Colorado, in the prison. Like they see the world pretty similar, according to him.
Yeah.
I think he's wrong.
It could be wrong.
I don't really find that, the Islamic terrorists really have a big environmental agenda.
Yeah. I mean, not in my experience. I remember we used to burn trash when I was younger. That was how we got rid of it.
Yeah. So I don't know.
They just burn trash in the center.
In Orange County?
No. Cerritos. But, close enough to Orange County. It's not exactly Orange County per se.
They keep messaging you, sir, you have trash is included in living here. Just you will take it for you don't have to have.
Yeah, but what about the spirit of the trash? We're asking them questions.
Like, oh yeah, that's like, oh, hippies do that. I did that one time. God, this is gonna make me throw up. But I had when I cut my hair.
Oh God,
we've done enough bashing of you. Let's bring it to me.
I do want to say before we go though, or before we move to that, is so Khalid Sheik Mohammad, who is on trial for 9/11, he allegedly did 9/11. We are not taking sides on this.
No, this is America. We believe in due process.
Due process, indeed.
It's only been 19 years. We're still reeling.
We're still trying to figure it out. So he was. There was a while where his beard was graying, and he had like mashed berries or something that they would give him, and he would use it as dye for his beard, so that essentially we would still think he was young and hot while he was on trial.
Right. They gave him cherries, and they thought he was Irish. He's a red beard.
Yes, he looks super red beard. Yeah, his beard. He looked hilarious. I remember that.
I wonder what do you know? What kind of berries was he going? Blueberries?
I don't know. I think he was trying to emulate like a henna kind of.
It's interesting because we were talking on the Patreon episode, the last one, about how Osama was dyeing his beard.
Yeah,
and I don't understand the vanity of that.
Yeah.
Like, would you be like, this terrorist is a boomer, I'm not listening to him? Like, is that like what young terrorists on TikTok are like? No, okay, boomer. Like when a gray-haired terrorist.
I think every terrorist wants to listen to like a 43-year-old guy. Like, I think that we there's a cutoff. We don't want you too old.
You want some wise hairs, but you don't want it all gray.
We want to believe that if needed, you could still pick up the sword and march in front. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the important thing for us. It's how we, it's really how we solve. Oh, I mean, that's how they. It's how they.
Right.
It's really how they, do a lot of their thinking, a lot of their decision making over there.
Yeah, it's true. I guess I'm nitpicking the wrong areas.
Yeah. If you're like in Jordan and you're hiring a plumber, you're looking for muscles. You're wondering, would you be comfortable with battling with this guy? Or
it'd be funny to show like, Osama and Khalid Sheik Mohammad to like somebody like Kim Kardashian and be like, these guys are very obsessed with their appearance. Yeah. They're wearing like a dusty tunic and have fucking fruit in their beard. Yeah. They're obsessed with it. I'm sure you could tell, two vain influencers like yourselves.
I like to think of the idea that Khalid Sheik Mohammad is bashing fruit in his beard, and his cellmate is like he's like wringing it out into a bowl and making pruno out of it.
Right, exactly. Or fucking prison hooch. Yeah, he's fermenting it, making fucking fortified wine.
They're literally the guards have to be like, we don't like you holding fruit, not because of the pruno thing. Like I love the idea that he's hoarding fruit not for pruno, but to make dye out of it.
Right. You think prison's the last place you'd want to be sexy?
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's trying to make himself less attractive to the prisoners. Maybe the prisoners like that little salt and pepper.
Right. And he's got a yellow mango beard. They're like, ugh, this guy's nasty.
Yeah.
It's all rotting. He's got flies all over his face.
I was gonna say could make him pretty delicious for the first few days.
Right. Dude, prison hooch has always been my thing I was gonna do to not get raped in prison.
Was to be a guy who made drinks.
Yeah.
Basically become a bartender. I like how even in prison you're a bartender. You still look like
bar backing. Yeah. Yeah. No, my theory is I'll take the orange juice bag.
Yeah.
And then what you do is you take some of the bread. Mm-hmm. You save a corner of the bread. And I don't know, you put the orange juice bag up your ass. I don't know what you do with that.
Well, did you get this out of some shitty zine or something? Is this where this comes from?
No, this comes straight from my head.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if any of this is real.
Okay. Good.
If you guys are listening in prison, please write the show and let me know.
We do have a few listeners in prison.
I hope so. They deserve entertainment. But my theory is that can you get tape in prison? Because this plan needs tape.
Yeah, you could probably get some tape. Yeah.
Okay, so I get some tape. I get an orange juice packet, and and I get a little corner of bread. I crack open that orange juice packet. I put the bread in there because bread, it's got to be sourdough.
Sure.
I don't know if they do sourdough in prison.
It's not artisanal, but they still do sourdough. It's not like fancy.
Right.
I mean, it's not going to be like a full loaf where you cut it up and stuff.
Right. But you're getting your peanut butter sandwich, and they're like, what kind of bread do you want? Sourdough? They're like, I know what you're up to. But you get the sourdough, you put it in the orange juice packet, then you tape it shut, and then you put a long strip of tape or rope or what have you, and then you flush it down the toilet, but it's still attached to the rope or the tape.
Yeah.
So it goes down the toilet, and then you still have that, and then you tape it into the top of the toilet. And then about a week or two later, I mean, it's kind of weird because you will be shitting and pissing over it, but as long as it's taped shut, it should be fine. And then you pull it out.
Yeah.
And it's the sourdough, because that's a fermented bread.
Okay.
It'll ferment the orange juice, and now you have, a glass of boozy orange juice.
It's not.
Who's going to rate me? I got the booze.
Not the worst idea I've heard, honestly, this last hour. So, I'm impressed with
You
it.
got to have plans for all situations.
You do. Did you watch the social dilemma? The social
I
media
sure did.
dilemma? What do you think about that? I mean, besides the fact I'm obviously I was right about everything. Do you like how people are saying that?
Yeah. I told you this shit was ruining our lives.
Like,
is that right, Nostradamus?
that's my new favorite point of view. Every single person. It's like, I mean, did you see The Social Dilemma? But The Social Dilemma, for those of you who have not seen it, is a documentary on Netflix about the evils of social media. Mm-hmm. And lots of people talking about it. Lots of people enjoying it.
Could have done without the dramatic reenactments. I'm not a fan of dramatic reenactments.
Dude, I love those
I
parts.
figured you would.
It was my favorite part because it felt like a truth commercial. It felt like what are those called? PDAs?
Oh, PSAs.
PSAs. What's a
Public display of affection.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that rules.
Public service announcement.
Dude, public displays of affection.
There's no way you like that.
Dude, fucking rules, dude.
It's so cool when you're walking down the street and you just see people banging on a park bench.
That's what I'm saying.
I just film it.
Isn't that what public display of affection is?
It's live porn.
It's porn.
It's
It's public sex.
porn in the park. America used to do Shakespeare in the park, but
Yeah.
since Trump came in, he outlawed Shakespeare in the park and he made it porn in the park.
Every Thursday.
Nobody likes Shakespeare, can't understand it. It's not even in English.
It's so boring.
Just put some porn in the park.
Yeah. Every single person who saw the social, so it had an element, by the way, of like PSAs, which is why I loved it. Every single person who saw it believed that they predicted.
They could have wrote it.
Absolutely, dude. I was sitting there going like, this is exactly what I've been talking about.
I would have said the same thing. Meanwhile, they're interviewing guys who have been working with Google since Google started.
Yeah, and I think that I'm on the same level
You're on
as
the
them.
same level as them. Yeah, totally, dude. This guy understands it.
I'm like, we could probably be on the same panel.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say that we would talk about the exact same things, but as I'm watching this documentary, I'm going, yeah, that's me. I actually was watching a lot of it and thinking it was another great example of me getting the wrong message out of something, because as I watched it, I was like scribbling notes down on how to manipulate people.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that what you got to do?
100%.
This whole time I've been doing the opposite.
I know. The dopamine stuff. It did make me, I've started sleeping with my phone not in my room now.
Yeah.
So it influenced me. I made some life choices. I did that for 2 nights.
Yeah. Now you sleep outside of the room. With
Exactly.
Your phone.
Yeah.
Nobody sleeps in your room.
Yeah. But the phone is not in the room.
Yeah.
But it totally, I mean, it talks about how social media is completely like, it's been built since day one to be 100% addictive.
Yeah, I mean, nothing new, nothing innovative. But the interesting thing about it is that it was all like the engineers who built it all talking about it.
Right. It's like the difference between, it's like people knew for years that cigarettes were addictive, but like once they started busting the and making illegal the advertisement campaigns and the cartoons, Joe Camel to get kids addicted. Once you get behind it, you're like, oh, this is way more sinister.
As the worst hour nation, where do we come down on whistleblowers? I can't tell if they're cool or not, right? Because some part of it is cool, right? Some part of it to be like, yo, man, I was the person on the inside.
Yeah.
I started blowing this whistle. People started listening to me. On the other side of it, you're kind of a tattletale. But on the other side of it, you could get a reward. There's whistleblower rewards. That fucking rules.
Also, I feel like because we're a nation that does not extradite,
Yeah.
There's something cool about people who whistle blow so hard that they have to live in exile.
Yeah, so that's another
Assange, Snowden, I'm all for them.
That's another thing that rules. Is having to
Also,
leave.
NSA, a not-for-profit organization. They're not, so he's not telling on something cool like a corporation. He's telling on the government. So who gives a shit?
That's
like
a good point.
if you're turning in CEOs, fuck you. CEOs rule.
CEOs rule. So you're saying the whistleblowers who are in the documentary, The Social Dilemma, those guys suck.
They're not Snowden or Assange. They're lame.
Okay.
They're getting in the way of money.
I appreciate this breakdown. I think a lot of our listeners want to know what our thoughts are on whistleblowers and what's a respectable whistleblower and what's not.
Yeah.
Wearing a wire is cool though, right?
Wearing a wire is way cool.
It's way cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes the cops who have to put the wire on you are a chick.
That's true.
Fucking
imagine putting the wire on the chick.
Dude.
Gotta put that shit between her tits.
Dude, that would fucking rule.
Yeah, I've become a cop just to put wires on girls. They're like, why do you want to be a police officer?
By the time you become a police officer, that will be outlawed.
No, nobody's wearing wires now.
By the time you're a police officer, all the police officers have to be women. National law. I think that's where we'll eventually settle on it.
Right.
At some point, we'll eventually settle on let's just make all the cops women.
They're literally doing that with astronauts. I sent you an article, but they're like this mission to Mars or something. They're trying to plan some 1.5 year mission to Mars, and everybody at the corporate level is like, can we let's either it's all women or it's all men.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I got a wife that they could take up there, up there with them if they want.
Shit, her head's already in the clouds anyway.
Every guy signing up his wife. every fucking old crutch. How come you and I weren't born in the 1930s?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I was though.
Yeah,
I mean, we've already made a Rock Hudson joke.
Dude, we would be. If these people were listening to this podcast from Hoovervilles,
Yeah, for real.
from shanty towns by Herbert Hoover's failed administration,
Dude, let's do a deep dive on Herbert Hoover.
future episode for sure. Should we start the show?
I mean, if you feel like it,
I feel like
still feel a little tight, but
I feel like we're kind of loosening it up there, and we should just start the show. Welcome to the worst star of the week. You guys get again another fantastic episode here.
lucky bastards.
Live here from WHP Studios in WHP 2 in Eastern Los Angeles. My name is Ramsey Badawi. I'm the big ass Ramdog, the Thai-Town Sheik, the West Bank baby himself. Joining me as always, you guys know my co-host Bryan Vokey, Bryan Big Business Vokey. Bryan, have you ever thought about this? Have you ever thought about possibly entering in a area of law? Maybe, like I feel like you could advertise your services as like maybe you could help landlords evict tenants, because as a consultant, maybe you could tell them get in the mind of a squatter.
Right, because I have a lot of experience with that. I have. What's funny is that I got foreclosed on. I was a renter and I got foreclosed on in Oakland, and the bank seized the property. But in Oakland, you're not allowed to evict somebody for your landlord foreclosing.
Yeah.
Because they have something where there's only like 5 legal reasons to evict somebody.
Uh-huh.
So they couldn't kick us out until they sold the house. And they were doing all the short sale auctions down at City Hall. And so we would go down to City Hall and let everybody know that they were inheriting us as tenants, because they couldn't kick us out unless they were moving in. So we were trying to stop them. So we would come down, we'd bring snare drums and like drum on it and bring like guitars and stuff.
I like the idea that you guys are like, hey, everybody, you know how we're usually really annoying? Well, let's ratchet it up. But
Yeah.
You want to kill that AC, by the way?
Oh, yeah. We were like, that once a month shower? Cancel it. Cancel it.
Let's take it to the next level, boys.
And we were paying rent into an escrow account, but we weren't, because we didn't have to pay rent to Wells Fargo. So we lived rent free for 8 months, and we freaked every potential buyer out until a family eventually bought it, but they weren't moving in. So Wells Fargo's did a cash for keys for us. So they gave us a move out settlement. So I had 8 months of my rent that I had been paying into escrow. I got that back. Plus I got part of the settlement.
Damn, what was that? Like $40? What would we pay? What is like rent in like a foreclosed? What's rent in a?
No, we were still paying the previous rent price for when it was just in case they came back for us and we lost the case.
Yeah,
we jumped in. We went to the court case where they were Wells Fargo was trying to kick us out. We jumped in the elevator with the lawyer on behalf of Wells Fargo, and we just fucking just screamed at him while we were in the elevator with him.
So annoying.
Dude, I can't.
Smelly punk
Yeah.
just being like, shame on you. Shame.
I'm here with the Biotic Baking Brigade, and then I throw a pie in his face.
Yeah, you guys are the worst.
Yeah. So, dude, I ended up like clearing 10 G's on that.
Dude, not bad. What'd you do with it? Would have been so funny if you put it as down payment on a piece of property.
On that property? I bought that house.
And you just bought like next door and you just like displaced the family. You completely turn on him. You ruin another squat.
I don't remember what I did with the money, but I know I went to Chattanooga 4 times that year. So
yeah, that was you celebrating that legal victory. You were like, listen, I got this one, boys.
yeah, let's go to
Papa's coming
Chattanooga on
home.
me.
Papa's coming home 4 times this year.
Yeah, that story hurts now that you asked me what I do. What did I do with the money? I'm like, I literally have no idea.
Waffle House is on me, fellas.
Old Milwaukee, a case each.
Just don't get like a steak and egg sort of situation. Keep it lower than steak and egg, and I got this.
You just want the Grand Slam breakfast. No, what is theirs? All-Star.
The All-Star breakfast.
The All-Star breakfast.
Well, hey, we have a fantastic show for y'all today. We're going to be talking a little bit here about the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Which
yeah.
I can. Whenever anybody's got 3 names, they never get them in the right order.
Right. Ruth
Bader Ginsburg.
RBG,
I'm like,
yeah.
Is it Sasha Baron Cohen or Sasha Cohen Baron?
Babe Ruth.
I never get 'em.
Alan Ginsburg.
If you got 3 names, it's can't. Who's Julia Louise? Who Dreyfus? Julia Dreyfus? Louise?
Isn't it Louis? Julia Louis?
You know, I refuse to learn. I'm never going to learn.
Yeah, she's an aristocrat, billionaire father.
I want to talk about the Tesla battery day. Huge. I mean, just a huge day for me and the investors, for me and the boys at Tesla. I actually what I really want to do is I want to talk about Nikola. And I feel like it's a nice way to get into Nikola,
Yeah.
so we'll get into that in a
Nikola
second.
Tesla.
The Nikola Tesla fight is over. You know what I mean?
One of the greatest rivalries in all of electronic vehicles.
It used to be you'd call Lincoln Douglas debates. You go Nikola Tesla debates. It's over now, but we'll talk about that in a second. But before we go any further, I do want to say to our listeners, if you haven't already, consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/WHotW. For every month, you'll get 4 bonus episodes, extra content, merch mailed out. You're getting out essentially just a welcome package from the worst hour of the week that will blow your fucking socks off. You get a picture of me in graduating college. And you also get a picture recently added. It's actually the September edition of the Patreon package. Just got added. A photo of Bryan in the military.
Graduating boot camp.
Graduating
you graduate
boot camp.
college.
He's skinny. He's got these
Big juicy lips.
pouty lips.
Pillowy lips. Girls, every time girls see that picture, they always are so disappointed. They go, what happened to your lips?
Yeah, dude. Chicks must have gone wild for you, man. Just this guy looked like a young Pete Davidson.
Yeah. Just big pillowy lips, dude.
I'll tell you, man, these 2 people probably think to themselves, what am I going to do with these 2 pictures? If you work someplace where it might help you, if you work in the tech sector, which a lot of our listeners do, I get messages from them. Put up a picture of me graduating from college in your workspace. Do you understand how valuable a minority going to college is in your tech space workspace is?
Right. Also, a lot of these tech places don't like to honor traditional holidays.
Yeah.
And if you got a picture of me, as a soldier, and they're trying to get you to work Memorial Day, Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Because these liberal tech companies don't really respect American traditions.
So when they see the army picture.
If your boss comes up to your cubicle and you go, naturally, Veterans Day is very important to me. This is my son, husband, father, whatever you want to say.
Ladies,
Lover.
fantasize about this guy however you want to fantasize about him. If you're in this quarantine alone, use Bryan's picture and maybe picture you have an Iraq vet who's out there waiting for you on the other
As
side
you notice,
of the war.
my giant cocked boyfriend is a veteran.
He's a veteran.
Veterans Day is a big deal to him.
So I'd like to, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're a dad out there and you're listening and you're thinking like, man, it'd be nice to have a son in the army, join the Patreon.
Yeah, they might give you Veterans Week.
You might get Veterans Week.
You say he lost this guy in the war. Say this guy died in Mosul. The Fallujah raid.
You don't even need to exploit it, if you ask me. More than anything, just like fantasize about having that kid.
No, exploit it. I say exploit it. I say really, yeah, this guy's dead. I loved him. He was the only son I ever had. I need the week off. You can go to the lake.
Patreon.com/WHotW. You get a welcome pack. You get four bonus episodes a week. You get access to the coolest, hottest group of MILFs on the planet, all out there, all on our Patreon. Yeah. You know, I actually did the math the other day on it. $5 a month. You get basically 6 hours of podcasting a week, right? With the worst hour of the week. Mm-hmm. It's about 12 hours a week. It breaks it down. For every dollar that you're spending, you're actually getting about 2.5 hours of podcast.
That adds up to me.
I mean, it's
I refuse to do that math in my head, so it sounds good.
I like when people say stuff like that. It's really a meaningless metric.
Right. You're telling me I get 2 hours of podcasting per dollar?
Well, think about it. If you spend $1 on, let's say, a Baby Ruth, how long is that going to last?
That math hurts because it makes us have to confront how little we're getting per hour for our work.
The harsh reality of what we do.
Yeah.
Think about how much fun a Baby Ruth is. It's $1.29 to get a Baby Ruth candy bar. You and I have to talk for 2.5 hours.
I know.
For people to see the same value in us and a Baby Ruth.
Right. And you can't throw our podcast in the pool and freak everybody out.
You can't.
You could do that with a Baby Ruth.
Now, you can't play our podcast at a pool party and get everybody horny.
It's true. If you want to kick that party up to orgy status, take off the Bruno Mars or whatever the hell y'all are listening to, throw on Worst Hour of the Week, everybody gets all horned up. Next thing you know, it's a fuck fest.
Yeah, we're in the process of doing a double...
Only the Patreon episodes.
Of course.
Those are the horny episodes.
We're in the process of doing a double blind study. We hired the same guys who did Alpha Brain.
Alpha Brain, yeah.
Yeah, we actually, so far, the preliminary results are weirdly showing that the Patreon episodes actually act as an aphrodisiac for women.
It's true. A man who was wearing kettlebells in his ears came out to the pool party, and he had a horny meter. And he was playing the horny meter, and it was just going beep, beep, beep. It was regular. They were listening to like the horniest music you've ever heard. I mean, like Two Live Crew, super horny shit, WAP, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And then they put on Worst Hour of the Week, and the horny meter, it exploded in his hand.
Yeah.
And then they were like, bro, this is the horniest shit ever made.
Please enjoy this 1-minute clip from our most recent episode of Patreon. I would love to have 4 wives. I'm going to talk to my... Because here's the thing.
You call it your portfolio of wives.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'll tell you, not only would I be happier, all of my individual wives would be happier.
Oh, yeah. If you didn't have to like get all of that from you, if you didn't have to take all that energy.
I'd take all that energy. Sometimes I'd be talking to one of my wives, my hot one. And I'd be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to talk about this I'm going to save this for my tax wife.
Yeah.
For the wife that does my taxes. You don't need to hear this.
No.
And then, sometimes I'll be passionate one particular day and I'll show up and I'll be with my tax wife and I'll be like, you know what? The hot one will get this. You don't got to deal with this. This doesn't have to be your problem.
I'm going to leave this one for my hot wife.
This one's a hot wife problem.
Yeah, that's a boner.
You're horny. Yeah. My boner is my hot wife's problem. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's no question about that. My emotional problems, those are for my ugly wife.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a foolproof system.
You have an old wife for dinner.
You have an old wife for dinner.
She makes the food.
You have an old wife for dinner, and you have an old wife to talk about taxes with.
Yeah. The boss was riding my ass.
Yeah. That's somebody who gets it.
Right. She'll rub your feet. Your
hot wife doesn't know what property taxes are. And you know what? She shouldn't know what property taxes are.
It would make her not hot.
We should, yeah, you're right about that. Except all the chicks who are in like those property tax, like ballot initiative commercials, smoking hot.
Yeah, but they don't, they're just getting paid to read a script.
But in the commercial, they're like, sweetie, have you seen what Prop 2AB might do to our water bill?
If you want to know what happened to my juicy pillow lips, it's all these, it's tax talk. Just deflated my face. I was a good looking man. Now I'm an old wife.
She was the least knowledgeable looking person on the planet. Nobody looks more knowledgeable.
Right.
Or sounds more knowledgeable.
That's right.
Let's see here. Of course, goes without saying, Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. As many of you know, here at the Worst Hour Nation, we are funded in part or whole by the Qatari government. So our official stance is we mourn Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Mm-hmm. That is true. But also, Ramsey, I'm a little worried of a division happening here at Worst Hour Nation.
Oh, tell me about it.
Because I know we're both on Trump's short list.
Yeah.
For Supreme Court nominations.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be weird, but I feel like he would go with me over you.
He might go with you over me, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean, but do tell me. I'm interested as to why you think that he would choose you over me.
because I'm a doper judge.
You think in general, just
I'm just the dopest judge, dude.
yeah, maybe could be. I mean, the short list now. It was he had Ted Cruz on the short list.
Fan of the show, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
We've defended him to the end.
He had like some Indian guy. I forgot his name.
Was it the guy from Jindal? Bobby Jindal?
No, it was a different guy. I don't know. It's
Do you
crazy.
remember Bobby Jindal?
It's not Bobby Jindal. It's the other Indian Republican. That's not. No, right. It's not Dinesh D'Souza or Bobby Jindal.
Right.
It's the other guy.
Dude, Bobby Jindal was deep in my brain. I can't believe I was even able to access that.
Yeah.
There was also Tom Cotton.
Tom Cotton. He did actually recently come out and say though that he is mainly going to keep it to most likely he's going to appoint a woman.
Right.
So
so the odds are up on your side now.
yeah.
Oh, see, now you have a lead on me.
I was going to say all those candidates are out except for Ted Cruz, which
Yeah.
we've talked about previously on the show.
Yeah. Soft titty Ted
Is an old menopausal woman
with a wispy beard.
that soft.
Yeah.
Just nothing makes me less horny than looking at Ted Cruz's soft. You know what I don't like about Ted Cruz's face? It refuses to take any angles. It refuses to have a shape. There's certain things that certain guys do, right? Because a beard is a good way to cover up the fact that your face has no real shape. Right?
Yeah, no, his face looks like silly putty fell on a barbershop floor.
Some guys have such a weak face that when they grow a beard. You know what I like too is with these guys you see it these days when they wear masks. You ever see a guy when he wears a mask? You're like, God, your face is so weak.
Yeah.
Like
There's just no chin.
The mask has contoured their face perfectly to where you're like, I will never listen to you. You have no opinions.
Yeah. There's a football player who said, I was listening to a podcast, AJ Hawk, and he was saying that like there's nothing worse than a man with no chin and no ass.
No, do you know what's like? Okay,
Yeah, what are you gonna listen to?
I got nothing. You got nothing leading, nothing following you.
You really are just an amorphous blob.
That's what. So Ted Cruz is still on the list. He is going to apparently appoint a woman.
I thought it'd be funny if he threw Hillary Clinton up there just to get rid of her.
Wild card.
Just like, here's a lifetime. I'm making sure she can never run for president again.
Man.
Just I'm putting her in this chair till she dies, just for everybody. And then we'll find out that she's a Republican as she starts ruling.
He puts her on the Supreme Court only if she makes a promise that she will lock herself up.
He would just put his wife. He's like done with her, and he doesn't want to divorce her.
Yeah.
So he's like, let me just put Melania, Ivanka. I forget which one's the wife.
I think his wife is Melania.
Yeah, let me just throw Melania over there,
Yeah.
and then she'll have a job for the rest of his life.
Stormy Daniels.
He could just fuck chicks. Yeah, he clears up some legal issue.
He goes, Stormy, let's call it even. Let me just point you Supreme Court justice, and we put all of the nonsense behind us.
Dude, when RBG died, I found out really fast. Like I was within 5 minutes of the Twitter thing because I was just happy to be on Twitter, and I was having so much fun calling all the women in my life to tell them. I was just like, "Do you hear the news?" And they're like, "What?" Like Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. They're like, "No!" And I would just be like,
You just called and bullied every white woman you know.
I wasn't bullying them, but I was having a blast.
Bryan immediately ran to an Urban Outfitters and was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to ruin everybody's day.
Excuse me. Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. Have a great day.
Bryan's standing next to a T-shirt with a Walkman on it. Excuse me, do you know what size this is? Woman walks up to you. Oh, also Ruth Bader Ginsburg died today.
No! I called my sister first.
She breaks a vinyl disc and cuts her wrists. She breaks a vinyl copy of the Bare Naked Ladies. Whatever they're selling at Urban Outfitters.
I called my sister and I go, Ruth Bader Ginsburg died. And she goes, God damn it. And I immediately was like, I need more of this.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to go. I got to keep calling people. And
You
then
were getting a dopamine hit off of telling people that Ruth Bader Ginsburg
getting
died.
so upset. And then, but you know what's worse than I mean, I get it. I'm being a troll, but you know what position really bothered me? It was when people were just immediate, like, one less racist white bitch, because she said that shit about Kaepernick or whatever. I don't even really know what she said about Kaepernick.
I don't even know.
But it was just...
I might have said something about Kaepernick. I'm not sure, to be completely honest with you. When all is said and done... Anybody might have said anything about Kaepernick.
Kaepernick does look like you could be related to him.
Yeah, we do look like we could be related to one another.
Yeah.
We do both shop in the ethnic hair section at CVS, without a question. Yeah,
you both have fudged your way through some afros.
Yeah. No one's satisfied with our afros.
No, it's a Bride of Frankenstein style afro.
Yeah.
But you were mentioning on the phone when we were talking about that, about everybody tweeting about her being in heaven.
Yeah, people were tweeting that she and Martin Luther King were and Chadwick Boseman.
People are such children.
I go, what? Who do you think is? Listen, what? The only way RBG is in heaven is if it's your God.
Right.
I don't think he's in Allah's heaven, and I'll be honest with you. I kind of think Allah might be the one that we get at the end of it all.
Right. Well, also, I can speak on behalf of the Catholics that hate to break it to you, but abortion's a real deal breaker for heaven.
Was she pro-abortion? I don't really know what her deal is.
She was massively pro-abortion.
Yeah, I guess she probably was, right?
That was her linchpin. Yeah, she was very pro-abortion. So I was like, I'm seeing these heaven tweets. I'm like, I hate to break it to you guys, but them's ain't the rules.
I don't know anything. I when I saw some of the people, look. Obviously she died, and she's an impressive person. I mean, she is the second female Supreme Court justice to ever be nominated.
I mean, R.I.P. to RBG for sure. But I'm just saying, I was raised in the church, and her life and mine as well are not lives led that get you into heaven.
Yeah.
So those tweets were cracking me up. Also, like, can you imagine, like, everybody's like, if you've been in heaven as long as Martin Luther King has, do you think you just want to hang out with all the new people, like, as soon as they show up?
Yeah.
Like, who's like that? Who's like, oh God, I'm in the welcoming committee again. Thanks God.
I guess I have to go talk to Ruth Bader Ginsburg and the other 10 million people who should be here today.
Yeah,
it's a lot of people. I like how there's a class system in heaven where only celebrities talk to celebrities.
Yeah. It's the same thing.
You're talking when I get to heaven, my ass still has to only talk to you.
I know, right? Yeah, and David Spade is still fucking all the hot chicks up there.
Heaven has no high. It's the exact same hierarchy.
It just says heaven instead of Hollywood on the sign in the hills.
Heavenwood.
Nobody speaks English in my part of heaven except me.
Oh man. The thing that I found surprising about her is I didn't realize that she was not
tiny.
Well, she was not the first. I thought she was the first. I was like trying to eulogize her. I'm like, amazing being, the first top 10
easy
Supreme Court judges that were female.
Yeah.
I mean, without her,
who's the first?
Sandra Day O'Connor.
Sandra Day O'Connor.
Appointed by Ronald Reagan in 1986. That's why you don't hear about that. That's why you don't hear about her very often.
Yeah, that's like how Margaret Thatcher, the first woman prime minister of England, but no, everybody's like, yeah, I don't know.
We don't like to talk about that one. Have they had a female one since?
Yeah, they had that lady who cried and retired.
Yeah, they're like, that's our first one.
Yeah. No, Theresa May. No, they hate her too, though.
Oh yeah, that's right. They didn't like Theresa May. They don't like any of the female prime ministers.
Right, because they're not like, the right kind of lady. But yeah, now we got Sotomayor, and Trump's going to bring in a lady. Trump's going to put a big tittied girl there. He is.
It's either a big titty chick or Judge Judy.
Dude, Judge Judy would rule.
She'd be a hilarious Supreme Court justice.
He's like, why don't we bring her robe down a little? That robe's a little... What is that, a burqa? What do you wear? Why don't you sexy it up a little?
Trump appoints the woman who played Heidi from Tool Time.
Yeah, like we said on the Patreon, like one of the juggies from the Man Show.
All right, let's move on to the next story here. Tesla Battery Day, huge day for me, man.
When was Tesla Battery Day?
Yesterday. If you're listening to this, yesterday was Tesla Battery Day. It was a huge day for me. I became a millionaire. I sold all my Tesla stock after the stock price rose up to 10 million. I bought a house in Austin.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I bought a new car. Not a Tesla though.
No, you don't want to drink from the company.
No,
whatever they say.
Do you know what Battery Day is? We've talked about this previously. This is their million mile battery. it's amazing to me how innovative Tesla is and Elon Musk are. Like, you can't solve global warming without this guy, but everybody still hates him.
Yeah, because he's a little broy.
He's a little bro.
How funny is it that
that he's considered an intimidating force to people?
Yeah, that like the fact that he upsets people so much, but like he's like wearing, what does he wear? Like affliction shirts and shit. Like he dresses weird.
He rules, dude. I want to get a cyber truck so fucking badly.
They look awesome,
dude. They look fucking. That's how you know they're terrible. Is that you and I are both like, let's fucking do it.
Yeah, if I like something, dump your stock immediately.
I feel the same way. I'm literally gonna put everything. I'm gonna buy a Cybertruck in 5 years and then just fight the apocalypse in it. Right,
for sure. No, it's a beautiful looking piece of machinery. But I mean, I remember in the Cummins engine. When I found out the Cummins engine, that's a combustion engine that could go 1,000,000 miles. My friend bought a Cummins engine and put it in his truck. And he's like, "You can get 1,000,000 miles out of this thing." And I was like, so how are you going to in what lifetime are you putting 1,000,000 miles on something?
I think the idea of the 1,000,000-mile batteries right now, the current state of battery technology with EVs clog up the landfills and they have all those environmental implications. So they're saying if the problem with batteries is that they clog up landfills, we'll just make a battery that can last 1,000,000 miles.
Beyond that, also all the precious metals they use in there's a lot of problems with how they.
Oh, of course you know that. Yeah, of course.
I mean, I know all about the cobalt child slavery in Africa.
But I don't know necessarily what the battery implications are there in terms of what precious metals they use. I do know they spent a bunch of money on battery technology, and that's what has sort of led to this.
Yeah. Elon just struck a deal with a guy who it's illegal to do business with him in America, but I don't know. He got away with it.
Dude, I'm telling you, right today, today's not at this point, actually, if today's Wednesday, take a look at the prices. It's probably fucking plummeted. Today's the day to get in, but this guy's going to solve global warming. It's no question about it. I'm a fucking fanboy. The other day, a friend of mine tweeted something as a joke, right? And they tweeted something like, imagine thinking Elon Musk is cool, and it got like 15,000 likes. I had to fight myself. I so badly wanted to respond and be
I know.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. I guess he's just creating a bunch of jobs all over the place. I guess he's a piece of shit. Oh,
lowering carbon emission is lame now?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Cool. You tell me what Britney Spears has done for the environment, because this fucking guy's done quite a lot. But it's fine. I had to fight myself.
Yeah. Solar power to African villages that never had electricity in their life. Not cool. Okay.
I guess it's not cool. Putting a brain chip in everyone's skull and making them all think the same thing at the same time and move them whenever he wants to. Oh, I guess that's not cool. Okay. Yeah.
Putting chips in pigs is dope, though, for sure.
Creating PayPal and ruining, the financial industry by bringing it into the new, technology world.
Hey, listen, everybody, we're all three-dimensional beings. We've got sides to us that aren't that great, but he's cool, man. I like his laugh. That's like a cool laugh. Like you would never expect a genius who's fixing global warming to be like,
yeah, like he's doing tracks on a hip hop album.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah,
or like his friend just jumped off a cliff into a lake.
Yeah,
he was like, send it.
The only reason why I bring up Battery Day is to juxtapose it, because there was a story that I read last week that I sent you about revolving Nikola, which is a competitor car manufacturer.
Funniest name ever. I mean, you guys know that Tesla's first name is Nikola.
Yeah,
I hope.
I guess that's the joke, right? Is that they created Nikola, and that's their alternative to Tesla, and they used his first name.
Imagine if there was a guy in the 1800s who was like a genius in beverage development, and that man's name was Pepsi Coke.
Yeah.
And Coca-Cola started. They were like, oh yeah? We're Pepsi.
Yeah.
That's just such a trolly name. Who would, just from the name, it's such a leg down on investing. Like I would immediately sniff that out as fucking suspect.
I'll tell you who would have purchased a Nikola. My dad would have got me a Nikola instead of a Tesla and been like, it's the same thing.
Sure, you have to push it.
It works the same. The brand, it looks just like it. It was a Target. They sell these Nikolas.
There's a video of one of the Nikola cars, and they literally had an orange extension cable coming out from the bottom of it at the display.
So Nikola, by the way, so what their niche was that they were going to build cars that were like utility cars, right?
Mack trucks,
like semi trucks, super dumps.
They had like one like Al Capone looking like 1940s car, but its front wheels were exposed. It was one of the ugliest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that was their whole shtick. They were founded by. You know what was the other thing that was weird to me about the Nikola thing is that they're hydrogen. Their cars all run on hydrogen, which makes their name make even less fucking sense.
It truly does. Yeah, and also, isn't that explosive?
Hydrogen fuel is like the new fuel, right? If you look at like Toyota and Honda, they have like cars that run on hydrogen. It's an alternative fuel source. Look, I'm not here to trash hydrogen fuel.
I thought it was tricky. I didn't know they'd figured. I thought it was very tricky.
Whatever it was, that was their pitch. So making the name Nikola makes no sense. But anyways, they got the CEO. His name is Trevor Milton.
Milton Friedman, you were thinking
Milton
of.
Friedman is who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Trevor Milton,
capitalist Ramsey,
he was their CEO of Nikola, right? And he was such a bad. Whenever you see this guy talk, he's like one of these tech company founders. It makes you respect. You got to admit, you do respect Jeff Bezos a little bit more. Jeff Bezos and Steve Jobs. When you see what the good version of these guys are, you're like, oh fuck, this guy sucks bad.
Yeah, he can't talk. He sounds like an open micer when he comes out. But the thing is, Elon can't talk either. But Elon's got this kind of alpha pause quality to him.
Little introvert swag.
Yeah, he's a little quirky. And so, like, he takes, like, huge pauses. But when he pauses, it's not like he's like, oh, fuck, what am I going to say? He's like, how am I going to get you to understand this?
Yeah.
Because you can tell he's got a superior brain. So he speaks very slowly and delicately because he's trying to process it in layman's term. Trevor, when he's speaking, he stumbles a lot because he's lying out of his ass.
Yeah, they try to. This guy is like, but he's from Salt Lake City, which I'm starting to think is like a hub for hucksters.
He's not even from Salt Lake City. You know where his first company was? I don't know much about him, but this I thought was funny because it's like this genius is going to challenge Tesla. He started his first company. He dropped out of Utah Valley State.
Yeah, that's a
Utah
rough one.
Valley State. He dropped out to start all these scam companies before he got up to Nikola.
Yeah, he has a couple. He has been frequently accused of what do you call that? Malpractice.
I mean, fraud is generally
fraud, malfeasance.
Yeah, there's some malfeasance.
A long history of it. Many companies that didn't quite work out. So this guy found himself basically at the forefront of this company, Nikola. He's actually not the CEO. He's like
Now he's nothing.
Well, yeah, we'll get into that in a second. He ended up roping GMC into a deal.
GM, yeah.
GMC is the brand of GM is the
whole thing.
Is the whole thing, and GMC is like
a brand of car, SUV or something.
So he ropes GM into the deal, and GM is like, all right, they're going to make the trucks, and we're going to supervise essentially. Doubles the stock value, right?
Like in a day.
Goes from like trading at $20 a share to $52 a share. Trevor's first move when he does this is he cashes out his stocks. He buys a $30 million home immediately. He doesn't even wait for a day. The ink is not even dry on the check.
This guy cannot live unless there's panic.
Just
like he had a chance to be comfortable, and he was like, I can't even get out of bed unless the world is collapsing around me. So let me take on a mortgage.
30 fucking mil. I don't even think he took on a mortgage, dude. I think he literally liquidated his checks.
Just nothing. He has no money. He has a $30 million house and he's eating beans.
What do you do when you show up to a bank, by the way, and you're like, I need to cash this $30 million check? What do they even do? They go like, oh yeah, we'll have a guy with duffel bags be out here in a minute.
Right. In the meantime, we'll have a hot lady suck your dick while we're counting the money.
That better be what's happening.
Yeah. We have a suck your dick cubicle over here for the high rollers.
I'm not withdrawing $30 million because I'm not in a rush, sweetheart.
I know.
Nobody's casually withdrawing 30 mil.
It's like, are you trying to get to Sinola? Like, where are you going?
I don't even know how you do it. So he gets it done. He's got this deal popping. And then last week, this company, Hindenburg, which is Hindenburg Research.
It's a great name.
Great name. They're short sellers, which is, to me, one of my favorite things I've learned about this world and this economy is while people are calling Trump racist online,
Yep.
there's groups of people that are like, what do we do professionally? Oh, we short sell stocks. We make tens of millions of dollars every year. What we do is we just take a bunch of money, we buy stocks, and we bet on what companies are going to lose value and what are not. So Hindenburg actually has a financial incentive for Nikola to fail, and they
Yes.
put out this hit piece on them.
It's pretty brutal too.
Pretty brutal, and it alleges Nikola of basically during their of defrauding the investors during their presentations. What do they call those?
The
Those,
rollout.
Yeah, where they would bring out they bring out the fucking car and he'd do the speech with the lapel mic.
The Steve Jobs thing.
There was a number of different instances where they were like, yeah, the cars that they were showing like didn't have.
Yeah, that's one of the videos I watched where they had literally an orange extension cord coming out from the bottom of a car.
There's literally a kid. There's
like how you set up an RV TV.
They literally saw like no cameras past this point because there's just like a cardboard cutout of a car. The thing which got them. By the way, like there's a clip of Trevor. There's a clip I saw of essentially what they're saying is none of the floor models ever functioned. That's the key thing. So that's defrauding the investors, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you do a show and you want to show everybody your new car and you're trying to get investors and the car doesn't work,
Right.
you have an obligation to share that with them.
Remember when Elon had the guy throw the metal ball through his truck window?
Yeah.
He pulled out the truck and he's like, you can't break this glass. And he had a guy like either hit it with a hammer or throw a metal ball at it and it just smashed the glass. And he was like, try the other window. See if that one doesn't work. And they just smashed both windows.
It's bulletproof. It's supposed to be bulletproof now. They updated it to be bulletproof. So at the next one, they're just going to have a guy standing in front of the windshield, aim a gun at Elon while he's sitting in the seat. That's how he's going to proof.
Tell me that's not a sign that Armageddon's coming.
Yeah.
Where they're like, people who can afford a $60,000 car are going to need a presidential level security because it's about to get bad. People are going to be just unloading rounds at middle class people soon.
It's like if you didn't think that society was going to turn into Doom 64, the game.
There is no reason for a car that, honestly, if you or I work hard for 2 years, we could easily afford the down payment for to be bulletproof unless you see some real economic inequality in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I plan to be able to afford this car by the end of the year, but
of course,
that's because I'm short selling.
You're short selling now.
I'm gonna get the. I'm not.
You're gonna gamble that Amazon's gonna fail.
Listen. If you're listening to this podcast right now and you call and you want to DM me on Twitter, or you can email us worsthouroftheweek@gmail.com. I'll give you stock advice. I've been just giving people stock advice lately.
And if you guys need sock advice, I have plenty of it.
worsthouroftheweek@gmail.com.
You want to know about merino wool, smart wool? I mean, I got ideas. Argyle,
tube,
gold toe.
I mean, athletic, non-athletic,
ankle.
Have you ever worn ankle socks? Whenever I wear ankle socks, I feel like I've got a secret from the world.
Ankle socks are the ones that show your ankles?
Yeah.
I feel like a slut in those. I feel like it's like Saturday night. I'm out to fuck.
If you ever wear ankle socks while you're wearing jeans, it's the closest you'll ever get to wearing women's underwear.
Right. You feel like J. Edgar Hoover.
Because you're like, oh God, if people knew what was going on here, man, they would judge me.
Your ankles rub on your pants, you blush a little.
This is how people should have known that Trevor, at this moment in the presentation, people should have known that Trevor Milton was lying. Look how many times he says the word functional in the next 30 seconds. He's showing a reporter the car right now. So he's inside of a semi-truck, a brand new Nikola semi-truck.
This isn't just a pusher like a lot of vehicles that they unveil are just vehicles that don't actually function. Mm-hmm. There's a fully functioning vehicle, which is really incredible. You can go through, we can change out pretty much everything we want, all the temperatures. I mean, this is a fully functioning vehicle. It's not just a pusher. That's what they call in the automotive world a vehicle that they just push and it doesn't move.
All right, so the number of times he said function in that 10-second clip should have given everybody just an immediate.
He sounds like a guy talking about his dick, like after it wouldn't get up for like having sex. I swear to God, this is a fully functional cock. I don't know, it's not a pusher. This has never happened before. I swear to God, this is fully functional. Anybody.
Does this fall onto this at this point just falls onto the investors? I'm sorry,
Oh,
guys.
it's all the signs are there. I was watching one video of him, and I don't have it ready, so I just had to recreate it. But as you could hear, he's kind of got like a bro voice.
Yeah.
And he was talking about his warehouse that they had in Utah. And his warehouse, he claimed, was the only warehouse that was off the grid that he knew of for at that size. And he's like, yeah, we got like hella solar panels on the roof, and we're like completely off the grid. We're running off of like whatever megawatts of solar power. And then the hit piece people, the Hindenburg, they cut to drone footage of the warehouse on the roof, and there's 0 solar panels on there.
It's so good. Well, the big thing that they really accused them of, right? And the final one, this was the death blow. And still not the most shocking part of the story is there was a commercial that Nikola did for one of their semi-trucks. They were showing off their brand new hydrogen semi-truck. People don't realize that this is where, like, we're having a lot of dumb fights right now. We're having a lot of serious fights right now, but mainly dumb fights. Mm-hmm. These people, what they're trying to do is just unemploy every single logistics worker on the planet. Like, most of this country runs on things moving from coast to coast on trucks. Mm-hmm. These guys are basically unveiling a new truck that is, supposed to be driverless. It's supposed to be, although I don't know if it's supposed to be driverless, but I know for sure it's supposed to be like fuel efficient, all hydrogen.
Teslas are supposed to be driverless.
Teslas will be driverless.
Yeah. I don't know what Nikola's up to.
Nikola's have to have 2 drivers.
And a lot lizard in the back.
Nikola's require several drivers. They require kids running on bicycles in the bottom. So they basically have this commercial that they shot where Hindenburg Research Group has accused them of taking the truck up to the top of a hill and letting it roll down the hill, and then filming it from an angle that made it look like it was going uphill.
Yeah, they tilted the camera to make it look like it was going uphill.
And that was the truth, right? That was really what they did. But that's not the most shocking part of the story. The most shocking part of the story is Nikola actually admitted that this happened. Nikola actually put out a press statement, and they went, yeah, so what happened in that was if you really will pay attention to what we said before, we never actually said that the car was driving in the commercial. We never said it was propelling onto itself. So, I mean,
does GM still own them to this day?
Yeah, it's a deal. GM is gonna. GM ain't gonna think twice about this because you gotta understand GM has so much money that they're just like.
I think they only spent what did they spend on it?
I don't know. I think the company's worth was last evaluated at like 30-something billion. It's probably worth nothing. It's probably if you're a stock owner in Nikola, you probably owe the Dow Jones. Right. $2 million now.
There's the company before Nikola that Trevor Milton ran. There's video.
The one that he claims he invented the online shopping cart.
Yeah, in 2009.
This guy's like my dad. My dad thinks he invented Little Arabia, like a little neighborhood in Anaheim. Yeah. He's like, dude, before me, this thing never came. This thing never existed. It's like, are you sure? I think you were just there. Like,
the online shopping cart was invented in '94, and he claimed in 2009 that he invented it for dehybrid systems.
Yeah,
which also dehybrid is a hilarious. Sounds like a football player. Like, what does that mean?
He had like a company called. It was like I don't know. It was called like U-Smiths or something. It was like a horrible name, and he was like, "We were the original." I saw an interview of him where he was like, we were the original Amazon. I mean,
he said that.
Yeah,
he said the only reason we failed is because we grew too fast.
Yeah, exactly.
If we didn't grow, if we had slowed down our growth, we would have taken out Amazon.
Yeah.
He's such a liar. But the one company, there's speech after speech after speech of him going, "Yeah, I sold that company for $250 million. I sold that company, dehybrid systems."
Yeah,
the one where he invented the online shopping cart in 2009. He said that he sold that company for $250 million, and there's video of it. He sold it for $16 million.
Yeah.
Which, also,
why even lie about that?
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And this guy clearly is out for pussy. If you tell a girl you sold a company for $16 million, she'll fuck you the same way she would if you sold it for $250 million.
He had a meltdown on Instagram where he was like cursing people out and talking shit on the Hindenburg, which is exactly how I'm going to handle my first my first crisis. Just locked up in a basement by himself, screaming about Hindenburg,
doing shots of hand sanitizer,
accusing the short sellers of misconduct.
He's because he got kicked out of Nikola, and now he's not allowed to. If he tweets anything about Nikola has to approve his tweets. Like his social media presence is a big part of his firing.
Yeah, well, so the interesting thing about what has occurred, right, is since Nikola has had this story leak about them. The DOJ has and
the SEC
are now they're investigating the company. As of this morning, 3 class action lawsuits have been filed.
Bam.
And we're going to put the link in the show notes. Jump in on it. I don't know if they can prove.
Dude, I do that. I sign up for all the class actions. I got a Jamba Juice one for $15 like 2 days ago.
Yeah. So Bryan, it's just as likely that Bryan was a shareholder at Nikola.
As a guy who rolled through a Jamba Juice one time.
Both things are just as likely. And you can't prove anything different.
I got my dad in on that shit too. So he signs up for all the class action suits and he'll call me. He'll be like, "Did you get the Bumblebee tuna check?"
It's a good one.
He was like, "Dude, it was $45.
Don't sleep on $45.
Yeah, that's gas for a week.
Gas for a week. That's your dad obviously not driving a Nikola. $45 for gas for a week.
Yeah, I know. He's driving Postmates now. He went from the post office to Postmates. It's been a tough fall.
Did he get that from Trump? That's like the Trump slogan for 2020.
From post office to Postmates.
Yeah, from post office to Postmates. He's running on that.
Postmates sounds like the British post office.
Yeah.
Hello, we're the Postmates.
I like the Postmates so much better than post office.
They're so kind and they don't carry guns.
Yeah. It's a little bit more, look, it's a little drier of a delivery.
Right.
But
I do wear goofy hats.
Yeah. I think as a cultured person, I personally respect
I sent a letter for Postmates.
So as of today's date, Wednesday, September 23rd, I never know what the date is. I just guess what it is from people.
Nobody knows.
We have Nikola has parted ways with Trevor Milton. I'm gonna keep on calling him Milton Friedman
because Trevor Milton is not a CEO name. Milton Friedman is.
Trevor Milton has been named in 3 lawsuits. The stock price is plummeting. Dropped 20% today. For a stock to drop 20% in one day, really, I mean, that is an absurd amount of value that you've lost in one company, with just millions and millions just being pissed away into nothing.
It's a shell company. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's always had a bad reputation in the sort of alternative. You know how I hang out in the alternative fuel section of Reddit?
Yeah, I know. You're a big guy in there.
I'm a big guy over
there. They all know you.
Nikola's always had a rough reputation, so now
you stood by him longer than most people.
Now I guess all my money is just going to be in NIO, the other the electric car maker from China. But that's a future episode. We'll cover that in a future episode.
NIO.
I'm invested in all the EV game, dude. I mean, listen, man. I plan to be pretty poor next year, so.
You don't anticipate being able to afford gas, so you need to get in on an EV.
Electric is just so much cheaper.
It's so much cheaper. You would forget to charge your car every night,
dude. It would be a disaster every single night. I would never be able to get home anywhere.
You would just never charge it.
Something about looking for a place to charge your car during the apocalypse seems incredibly. Feels like very much what's going to happen in 6 years. 6 years is going to be a bunch of people scurrying to find out where they can plug their car in during the disaster.
Right, people getting murdered over charge spots as a tornado heads towards them. A tornado full of sharks.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this guy up. It's getting hot again. Be sure to follow the show across all social media platforms at Worst Hour Pod. You could follow my co-host Bryan here at Bryan J. Vokey on Instagram. On Twitter, and at Mr. Bryan Vokey on Instagram. Follow me across all social media platforms at Ramsbad. You can also email the show at worsthouroftheweek@gmail.com. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/WHotW for all the fucking hottest bonus clips on the planet. For all the hottest bonus episodes on the planet, I mean. Anything else you want to plug here before we get out of here,
remember,
man?
join that Patreon. The orgy will kick off. Also, October 1st, I'm doing a stand-up show in Burbank. If you want to go, hit me up. I can't just put the address out.
Yeah.
But if you want to go, DM me and I'll give you the address.
Yeah, Bryan's coming back and doing comedy. I've got falafel down the pipeline. Let me know if you guys are interested in that. Mm-hmm. Do you got anything else you want to plug here?
No, sir.
Dude, if you got nothing else, I got nothing else. Then on behalf of everybody here at the Worst Hour Nation, peace be unto the prophet.
Long live Trevor Milton.
Coming in hard with the depravity you see. This is the worst hour of the week. Reaching new lows with Bryan and Ramsey. This is the worst hour of the week. The worst hour
Thank you for listening to the Worst Hour of the Week with Bryan Vokey and Ramsey Badawi. Peace be unto the prophet.